Yes.
Let's get it started.
Let's do it. We're back after we took the bye week off.
Apologies to anyone who's a fan of the show. Had a couple people hitting us up asking. Honestly, I just want to get this out of the way because I feel passionate about this. If you're making a YouTube show, you stick to a firm schedule. We have not. This is my fault. We're going to get better about it. Still our first foray into that kind of thing. That said, that's out of the way. We're back. Very excited to be back.
Yes. Yeah.
Take it away.
Yeah, episode 5. This obviously last... we're just going to jump right into it. By the way, subscribe below. Follow us. Let other people know about our show. We got a couple of more left this season, and then we're back next year. So
yeah,
we'll be a little more usual. That's the wrong word. Next year, a little more consistent next year.
It's not completely the wrong word. I think that'll play. Consistent. I like that word. Yeah. We'll be more consistent.
I mean,
I don't know about you. I've never really done anything like this with YouTube, but I've been extremely impressed with the ease of use. Yeah. I mean, going straight from iMovie, you can go straight from your phone. I'm looking into a couple different things. So, as far as our channel goes, 1350 AM, expect more from that. Maybe a daily video series. We're seeing we got some things in the works.
Yeah.
But ThroneCast.
You know what I'll do?
2 episodes left after this.
You know what I'm going to do this summer?
What are you going to do?
You only watch. I'm probably going to make you watch Breaking Bad, then Better Call Saul. We'll probably do a Saulcast.
Dude, I don't know if I have any desire to watch the what Better Call Saul miniseries that's coming off of Breaking Bad.
True Detective, maybe then. Do that one.
Now that I can get behind. Absolutely love. Excuse me.
Okay, let's jump in.
Love True Detective.
Let's jump into this episode, The Mountain and the Viper, Season 4, Episode 8. I just want to get it out of the way, and we'll talk about it more. We kind of want to go in chronological order. But that was as disturbed as I've ever been following a show in my life.
I love it.
Period. From a variety of reasons. It's one episode that I'll just be frank, I'll never watch it again. I'll watch the show again. I just won't watch the episode again. It wasn't all of the gore and the gore at the end. It was a mixture of the gore and then seeing. And again, I hadn't read the books, and that nobody's safe in George R.R. Martin's world. Yeah. So my eyes were wide open, but the way they built it up, where you thought the Viper was going to win,
he had it
right. You got him on the ground. You thought the Mountain was pretty much dying or dead, and then he's. This is going to be cheesy. I don't mind being cheesy here. I started getting I didn't cry, but I started tearing up a little bit when he finally won.
Those
victorious. He was finally pointing at Tywin Lannister,
that's what
saying,
I was going to mention.
Who gave the order?
Who gave the order? He keeps repeating the same thing. You raped my sister and killed her. Admit it, whatever. And then when he hits that flying leap spear to the chest, and he says it with authority. I feel you. I got a little bit of goosebumps. It felt like
I sat up in my couch.
He did it.
I was like, "This is great." And then, I really thought in that moment that it was over. I thought, "Okay, this is cool." And then to have it snatched away like that,
so good, man. So genius.
No, that part was but man,
don't play with your food. That's on Oberyn.
No, I agree.
It is completely 110% on Oberyn how he died.
And let me tell you how I watched this. So I watched this, it's Sunday late, probably at about 9 o'clock, a little after 9, and I had to do the show in the morning. So went to bed. I was planning on going bed right after that. I couldn't sleep. I mean, I was literally, and then when I slept, I was having almost, I wouldn't say nightmares, but visions of the brutality of that scene. It was just... And I respect Game of Thrones. One of the reasons Game of Thrones is good, 2 reasons, is obviously it's past R. I mean, it's a graphic show. You can see things. You just couldn't on a network. That's why this is a much better show here than it would be on an NBC or something. I think it's a perfect place for it. That's one of the reasons it's good. The other reason it's good is George R.R. Martin's brilliant with his writing. He keeps you on his toes. You never know who's going to live or who's going to die. But I just wish, it feels like he's driven in the stake one too many times almost, and we get the point finally. It would almost be a surprise to me now, much more of a surprise, if one of my favorite characters actually lives rather than
I think I gotta disagree with you here though, man.
It'd be a surprise for me.
I think I disagree with you because there are characters that are still around, and there are characters
But for how long?
that you can't. Well, that's exactly you don't know, and the reason why you don't know is because people are getting got, and not wholly though, but at random. People are dying, and you never really know who's going to be next. I think it's genius. I think it's the way to do something with like this kind of show, and maybe it's unique to this. Like, I don't think every show should have all the main characters dying so that you don't know what to expect, but it is very refreshing to me to have a show where you can't bank on, like, I'm not watching it and thinking, I'm not even sweating this because he's the main character until I know he makes it out. Game of Thrones done a masterful job of never letting you feel comfortable. It's the same reason I love the Walking Dead comic books. It's
even the Walking Dead show's kind of that way.
And well, exactly, because they want to. The stakes are real. I guess that's the thing about these shows. The stakes are real because they've proven that they're not afraid to take people out, and that's very hard for an author to do, especially when you have success. I don't think you want to kill your most popular characters. I mean, because that could potentially hurt your book. That's going to turn some people off from reading or watching it completely.
Right, and just obviously, this is no way is going to stop me from watching the show, and I'm starting to read the book, so it's not going to stop me from.
I'm going to drink from Costco.
It's not going to stop me. I'm not saying it's going to stop me from reading the books or watching the show. But it did turn. It was like he killed my favorite character in the show right now, and I'm not the only one. You know, the Twitter sphere, a lot of the reviews I've read online kind of echoed what I said, and that it's a little overkill. But it's overkill, and that's what makes it good. So it's like you can't have it both ways, I suppose.
Exactly. You know what I mean? I still would rather. I'd rather have it like this.
Would you agree he was
otherwise.
A great character?
He was a great character. When I read it in the books, it was shocking to me.
Yeah.
Because he was such a good character immediately, and he's not necessarily all good guy, but he was very intriguing. Seemed to have a lot of depth. What?
Yeah. I don't know. They've got the perfect.
Dude, he poisoned me over and poisoned me. I'm done, dude.
I'll tell you this: they got the perfect actor to play him in Pedro or Pablo Pascal.
I don't know his name, but he was excellent.
Pedro Pascal.
He was excellent. No, I had the exact same reaction in the book, though.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go back to the fight.
Well, the thing is, and he came out of nowhere, and he rose like a comet to how much you liked him.
See, and that's where I knew he was just a plot device, because he wouldn't have been introduced so late and be, somebody who's going to, in the end, rule the Iron Throne or something.
Well, there are characters who come in late who still have
Marjorie,
lasting big impacts. Marjorie's in there right now.
Queen of Thorns.
I'm trying to think
Sand
off
snakes.
the top of my head. The Sand Snakes still
we won't give you any spoilers.
Have yet to be revealed. I've
been spoiled, by the way. I haven't read the book, so I got spoiled about it.
I don't necessarily know if I agree with that. I don't think you can dismiss somebody just because they came on the scene later. But I will say this. This is if I were to find fault with who George Martin kills, occasionally he'll almost overdo it with making you like a character, and if you find yourself really starting to like a character, then watch out, because that character may be the next one
My
to die.
two favorite... I love the Jon Snow character. He's probably my favorite. Well, Tyrion, Oberyn, and Jon Snow are my three favorites, so I got two of my three left. I don't know for how long, because both of them are going to be put to the sword, perhaps, in the next couple of episodes. But the two biggest, most disturbing deaths, most impactful deaths in the show for me, Oberyn won for sure. That bar none took the cake in the 4 seasons. And Catelyn, I know a lot of people didn't like Catelyn's character, but I liked her character and the way she died. That guttural moan and how she died. You could see the devastation in her face.
It was a mother's despair. It truly was.
Those are the two biggest things I remember about the show. I wish they'd give us some good news that I would remember. Like, I don't just want to remember Game of Thrones for the despair. Right? I want to remember something good.
I'm not going to spoil anything. There's 2 episodes left. It's going to be very exciting. Let's get into other parts of this episode. So we can go back to the combat. Talk about it specifically in a little bit. But we'll get into other parts. Okay. All right.
We'll come back to the fight later. The show started out, Littlefinger's trial. He obviously killed Lysa. Sansa was the only one who was a witness to that. Oh. Good scene. You knew it was coming. I thought...
Great scene.
Great scene. we can't spend too much. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's fairly straightforward. The one thing I will say about the whole scene in the Eyrie with Sansa and Littlefinger, I love how they've developed Sansa as a character, and she gets it now, right?
How quickly your tune has changed.
Well, I will say,
if
yes,
only
she's
we
not
could,
the whiny little girl
if
anymore.
only we could go back a couple episodes where you were all, I just don't get Sansa. I don't like Sansa. Like, do something. She's just whining all the time.
Well, she was.
Hey, tried to.
But she gets it now.
Okay,
She's here's the thing. I think she.
But even pre this scene, I thought your criticism of Sansa's unfounded because she's had a terrible go of things. But I thought it was very nice to see her empowered a little bit and to see her do something effective. I guess you could say that. You could say that before this, Sansa had never done anything effective.
No, she hadn't done anything to move the plot along. Let's say herself. She finally did because now she is the one person that has Littlefinger wrapped around her finger, right?
Does she though?
Oh, I think she's playing it pretty well. Like,
how about Littlefinger's?
The best line, maybe the best line of the whole show was Littlefinger saying, "You don't know what I want," and Sansa saying, "Don't I?" Right? She does. She knows two things. She knows that he wants power. He's power hungry, and she knows he wants him. He wants him.
My dear.
So I don't know where it's going to go. Either Sansa's completely gone over to the dark side, or what I think is Sansa realizes the game that's being played here, and she realizes
Could you
that
even
she
call
needs
it the dark side at this point? I think Sansa's just kind of woken up to the reality of how the world works.
Well, yeah, but come on, Littlefinger's not a good guy.
He's not a bad guy. He's as many shades as gray as anybody else. He's killed people on all sides of this conflict. Like, he's not in camp with anybody. I think he's looking out for number one. He's looking out for himself, which I can get behind. I mean, I'll give Littlefinger credit for working up from being a nobody. Literally a man of common birth. I think maybe he had some lineage down the road or something, and now he has worked his way. He's Lord of the Vale for all intents and purposes.
No, you can say that he did a great job promoting himself and advancing himself in Westeros.
When you look at the other characters in the show, how can you call Littlefinger evil?
Because he initiated everything that we've seen in the show. All the fighting, all the battles, a lot of the deaths, all because of what he did.
Just because he put the pieces in place, people still killed each other. Everybody else still made their own decisions at the end of the day.
Well, who was more at fault, Hitler or his army?
Wait, whoa. Time out. Littlefinger wasn't over there commanding anybody under the threat of death to kill anybody like Hitler. Once again, nobody loves non-analogous statements like this man. That doesn't even apply. Those are not the same things at all.
Better example, Joseph Goebbels or the Nazis.
Joseph Goebbels. No.
Didn't command. He was a propagandist behind the scenes.
I still don't think that applies. He was a man of power. That's not how Littlefinger's operated. All Littlefinger did was take biases and relationships that he understood. He understood who hated who he could push and prod, and he just kind of set things in motion. Like, I can't hate on Littlefinger.
Okay, if there's like a scale,
I don't think he's any more evil or good than just about anyone on the show.
Okay, he would be. Let's see here. He would be more evil than. Oh God, what's
more
an
evil than
scale?
Jon Snow.
Well, yeah, he's like right. Okay, but
Jon Snow's the ultimate good.
No, I would say like Ramsay Bolton is the ultimate bad, right?
Yeah.
Ramsay Bolton. Now we'll get to that. Ramsay Bolton. Maybe he's like right on that level with Tywin, because Tywin's kind of looking out. They're like on that. They're up. They're a little bit evil and nefarious, but they're not the Ramsay Bolton crazy.
Well, they're not evil to be evil. They're evil to gain power. Like it's a necessary evil to them. It's what is. They're willing to do what it takes in order to solidify their own position. Ramsay Bolton likes skinning people. There's a big difference there. That's why I can't hate on Littlefinger. I think Sansa's woken up to how the world works. Sansa's big thing people have always told her is, you're like a pretty little bird. You don't really get it. The world's not that romantic. Now she gets it. Excellent job by the actress. I wish I knew her name off the top of my head.
It's not Sophie. That's
Great
Arya.
performance, crying, everything. I thought she was really good. Lying to the judges. Thought her story to the judges very convincing if I'm one of those three judges. And then, can we give it up for sexy Sansa? After she...
I told you this a couple of shows ago.
No, she's beautiful, but I'm talking about after that scene, after her and Littlefinger talks, when they're seeing Robin off, she shows up, low-cut top, some kind of weird sexy necklace thing. She's got the eagle shoulder pads. I mean, ooh,
No, I'll tell you this. HBO knows how to do redheads well because Sansa's great, and then True Blood, Jessica on True Blood, man.
She's fine, too.
Ooh.
Yeah, but a good-looking redhead is about as good-looking as it gets, right? Like, they're rare.
Yeah.
They're not, to find a good-looking redhead's a little bit harder, but once you do, it's like a diamond in the rough.
They get better with age.
That's not all what it's
Okay, let's talk a little bit for a second about Ramsay Bolton and Reek Theon. Boy, Reek almost gave it up. Did a good job, and then he was breaking down, and he got saved by the crazy guy that axed down the commander.
Well, he was breaking down, yeah, because if he didn't give them to give up Mo Kalen, he knew he was in trouble when he showed back up to Ramsay.
Okay. What... See, it's tough because you've read the book, so you know what's coming. This is not going to end well for the Boltons or Ramsay Bolton now. He used to be Ramsay Snow. He now got the papers where he's been officially named Bolton.
I don't see why not.
He's not going to end. I mean, they'll be back next season. Well, maybe. I think they are.
They control the North.
Yes, but there's the Wildling army that's coming down.
Look out that way. Look out that way. Look all around you.
What do you see?
What do you see?
The North.
No. Warden of the North. Excellent. My favorite part about that scene, Ramsay, absolutely evil. Or I might be getting ahead of myself. First, let's talk about Reek, what they did to take Moat Caitlin, which was, as we know from playing the Game of Thrones board game, of the utmost importance because it is one of the bottlenecks leading to the south.
Absolutely. If you don't control Moat Caitlin, you can't get from the north to the south, basically, without having a lot of problems.
And Theon goes in there, pretends to be Theon, says, we're going to let you escape if you give us Mo Kalen.
That's such a weird phrase. Theon goes in there and pretends to be Theon.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, we know that Bolton was never going to let him escape. They thought they were going to. After their captain was pretty cool, he's like, we're Ironborn, boy. We'd never do that. And then ends up getting executed.
Okay, can I just say this? I got to break in here. This is where I get so frustrated by George R.R. Martin. He allows evil and nefarious people like the Boltons to prosper and go season for season for season. Even the Lannisters, although they're more of a shade of gray than the Boltons, but just go through, skate through free through 4 seasons now while killing all the good guys. Like, when is anything going to happen to the Boltons or the Lannisters?
Look throughout history. When have the good guys ever won in history? Almost every great man in history is evil. They've stepped on people the way to the top. They've killed people along the way.
Wait a second.
Yeah. I think you would be hard-pressed to find people in significant power in charge of countries.
FDR, Churchill.
Especially back then. You talk about some of Churchill's World War I plans, how many people got killed from those stuff. Like, no, there's everybody. If you want to be a great man, you had to do some things along the way. It's the moral. You have to be a little more morally lenient, I think, a lot of times to achieve these positions of power. So I can't fault him for letting the bad guys win. What I would say, however, is just that I still don't know if there are bad guys and good guys in the show. Like the Boltons, obviously they're mostly bad. The Lannisters, I think they're pretty evenly mixed, kind of.
They're redeeming characters now. Jaime's redeemed himself, I think, almost. It just shut off, I think, by the way.
Yeah, did it?
Yeah.
Hold on, this is weird. It's only been 9 minutes.
The lens changed, that's for sure. Something happened with the lens.
No, it's still going.
Okay. So the Lannisters, and they are more redeeming to me. I mean, Jaime's redeemed himself. You've got who's the Tommen?
It's easier. It's easier to kill people and get power than it is to try to go about things like how Ed Stark did. True or false? That's why I think you see these bad guys in power right now. Now, it's not to say that there's not karma.
Wait, what about Dany? Dany's good. One of the best. Right?
Good is a very relative word when talking about Daenerys.
She's freeing slaves.
Out there crucifying people.
Right, but only people that have only slave owners.
Doesn't matter to me. I mean, I don't think you can sit there. Is crucifying anybody? Is crucifying anybody ever morally or ethically correct?
No, but are you going to put her in the same class as Ramsay Bolton or Tywin Lannister?
No, not at all. But still, to achieve her position of power, people had to die. Tons of people. Good people, bad people. Not all those masters may have been evil. Some of them may have treated their slaves right. I don't know.
I'm not saying in a world like this that you don't have to kill to get. I mean, the Viper killed. That was what he was known for, a great combatant, right?
Exactly.
Right, but there's different levels. I don't know.
There are different levels, and we see people of all different levels in power in this show. That's all I'm saying. It's not always the bad guys winning,
okay,
even though it feels that way.
Speaking of Danny, great scene that I never saw coming with Jorah, who's one of my more favorite characters, probably in the East. He is my favorite character now in the show. Just kind of.
Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, we got to back up. Theon and Reek. We never quite closed it up. What happened? Okay, so they agree to leave. Ramsay betrays them. There's a great shot of the skinned man, which is where we actually get to see the Boltons. That's what they do. They skin people, and you saw that. It was disgusting. But what I loved about the scene with Roose Bolton and Ramsay Bolton was, despite we just had an entire conversation about how unforgivably evil these people are, but tell me you didn't get a little touched when you saw Ramsay Snow get named his heir.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Honestly. I mean, honestly, you're asking me honest, I didn't.
I did. I know my wife did. We were talking about it, how, like, they're the most terrible people on the show, yet it was kind of sweet to see Ramsay Snow's reaction when he was named legitimate and he was named heir to the North. Now, if I'm Roose, I'm worried that my psycho stepson's going to kill me and take the North.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think Roose realizes just how psycho he is. He doesn't realize what he's done behind the scenes.
Potentially.
I mean, he might, like...
I would say, though, remember Roose's right-hand man that went to the North and got killed?
Yeah.
Remember when he saw Ramsay and he was talking about chopping off Kingslayer's hands? He's like, oh, you should have heard him scream. You would have loved it. So I think it is a little open how much they love torture. And Roose skins people too. That's what they do. That's what the Boltons do, is skin people. So
did they show Roose skinning somebody before?
Well, that's their sigil. It's a flayed man.
Oh, okay.
It is quite literally what the Boltons do, is skin people. Yeah, so pretty evil family. Roose drinks blood too. They don't really show that on the show. He's pretty insane.
Yeah. And
I thought, though, despite how evil it was, I thought it was very cool how you could prove that everybody has almost a sweet side to them. Like, it was, I felt, despite how I should have felt, I felt good for Ramsay.
I do feel like, thank goodness, that this, like I said, this isn't going to end well for the Boltons, at least Ramsay. So.
All right, we can move on. I just had to mention the weird dual aspect.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Jorah and Danny too much, other than to say, you know, George R.R. Martin always says, the reason he writes, or one of the ways he writes, is that nothing is without consequence. And because Jorah was a spy at the beginning, I guess looking back, you knew... I didn't see it coming, but I should have known it was coming.
He was a spy for a good while, too, it seems like. I mean, he was... Because think about it. They were updated on Danny's movements for a long time.
It was a little surprising to me how she wouldn't even listen to him. Just threw him out, even after he was pretty loyal.
What's he supposed to listen? What's he supposed to listen to? Think about it. These are the people who killed her family, who exiled them.
Though, did he? Or did he?
No, but the people that he's working for, the people he's sending information back to, are the ones who killed her family, who exiled her. They caused all the pain of her childhood. Like, they tried to kill her once she gained power with the bug, and that was maybe around the time when he stopped sending letters, when he stopped that assassination attempt. Yeah. But there is, I remember when I read it, I didn't think, I was kind of like you, I was like, I think she should have gave more a chance. But now that I see it and I think about it, if I was Danny, I would feel the exact same way. He's been lying to you since day one.
I wonder if...
quite literally since day one.
No, yeah. I just wonder... Well, you saw him, literally ride off into the sunset, right? I mean, that was riding off into the sunset.
Exiled.
Exiled. I wonder if... I don't know. Is he done, or is he going to have... I feel like he'll have some kind of...
He's truly a man with no home now. He's exiled from Westeros, and Danny kicked him out of her new forest.
If I had to guess, he's red. I'm the best at guessing. I've been pretty high percentage on guessing. He'll redeem himself to Danny somehow, and then he'll die. I mean, he doesn't really have an end anymore. He'll do something to help Danny out and try to redeem himself in her eyes, and then he'll die, because everybody dies. That's my guess. Another scene, the Hound.
Barristan Selmy, real quick. Barristan Selmy, true bro, sticking with bro code. Let him know before he told Danny, look, I ain't going to launch this on you.
Yeah.
But hey, you done messed up.
Yeah.
And I can't let that slide.
We can't.
Barristan Selmy is the man.
We have to talk just 1 minute about Grey Worm and Missandre.
Yeah. Okay. Does Grey Worm
Does he have the, what is it called, the pillars and the stones?
Does he have the pillar? We know the stones are there, because this is what I think about it. I always assumed that he had neither, but when you think about it, castration, that's just the stones, correct? Right? When you castrate an animal, that's just stones. Can you live without the pillar? Because you can't use the bathroom. I think you die. He may still have a pillar. All I'm saying is there's hope for Grey Worm yet.
There is hope. I like his character. They developed him well.
I like his character too. They've done well.
Yeah, he's way more buff than he used to be. He's been working out. I noticed that. I did a side-by-side of him, 2 seasons ago when he's a skinny little shit. And
and Missandre, what's her name?
Missandre, right?
Whoa, you're talking about a smoke show.
Yeah. I get her. It's Melisandre is the red woman.
That's the red.
And Miss Sandre.
Well, either way, she's beautiful.
Yeah,
and I see why Grey Worm was looking despite his lack of
It was
stones.
a little bit of a creepy look.
Despite his
just staring.
He raised out the water and then he goes back down.
Like the creature from
so that was sweet though. She's into it. I still want to know what exactly is going on.
Apparently she said
what do you
she
think?
did too.
I think he has the pillar, just no stones. He has something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something.
So that's it for Grey Worm.
Okay. The Hound and Arya at the Eyrie, really quick scene when they came up. This was after, they did it right after the trial, but before Sansa went off with Littlefinger. So I'm probably going to have some kind of reunion here in the next episode or two. But they found out that Lysa died, and because that's the whole reason the Hound traveled all across Westeros was to get paid from Lysa for Arya, and Arya realizes it and just burst out laughing. That was one of the first times I've actually smiled on the show in a long time.
That's what my wife said. She said that's the first time anybody's ever actually laughed on this show, not like a or like a drunken. That was like somebody actually laughing. Is that really the first? It really.
I think it might be.
I'm trying to rack my brain. I can't think of any other time. What stood out to me about that scene when they got to the gate and they asked who goes there, I thought it was pretty cool that the Hound, instead of saying my captive or something like that, said traveling companion when referring to Arya. She's earned his respect. I also like their conversation where she's talking trash to him, like, oh, well, that's why you'll never be good at killing people.
They've got a good back and forth.
Poison's a woman's weapon.
The back and forth's not going to last long. They give us a little hint that the Hound is not long for this world. Both the Cleganes, we don't know for sure if the Mountain is dead or not. He collapsed again at the end. Maybe he'll be back or not. We'll see more of the Hound, or the Mountain will get his end, or maybe he'll live. But both Cleganes could be gone. I don't think the Hound's long for this world.
Well,
nothing comes without consequence, and he could have got it burned from Arya.
He got bit, which is really just bacteria in your mouth, especially without the hygiene. Yeah, so that's infection. Yeah, that's gross.
Arya's gonna have to put him down.
That's infection central, and the fact that they made such a point about him not letting her burn it, and then we keep seeing him messing with it. I agree with you. It seems like he's not long.
I think Arya's gonna have to put him down. That's gonna. Arya's cool.
Arya, oh my God, one of the best female characters.
Are we finally going to get Arya and a Sansa reunion next couple episodes? It looks like it's going to happen. Because,
what do you think?
Oh yeah, I think they're crossing paths on the road the way they set it up. Like they're coming and Sansa and Littlefinger are leaving, so you'd think they would. I think yes, but I don't think it's going to be the reunion that people expect, where it's going to be hugs and kisses and yada yada yada. That's my guess. I don't know.
No comment. I'm not answering that question.
Now we get to the best parts. We go back to King's Landing right before the trial. Really good monologue. He's had a lot of. I mean, Dinklage has an Emmy. If he doesn't win an Emmy, if he doesn't have an Emmy, I'd be shocked by now. But the scene with him and Jaime in the prison again, and he talks about watching his cousin smash Beatles. You said you didn't really get it, right?
Did not really get it. I mean,
I did. I'll explain it here in a second. What I think.
Give me your theory on it.
Okay, I got 2 theories on it. I think it was kind of a dual metaphor, both for maybe how he thinks of the Mountain, right? The Mountain just wants to kill people, kill people, kill people, kill people, and there's no really rhyme or reason for it, and he doesn't really understand. And also, bigger picture-wise, Tyrion doesn't really understand. He wants to understand why there's so much killing in Westeros, why his father is nothing but kung against him throughout his life. Why armies and humans are kung
See, now that's more the vibe I don't think of it specifically. I don't think he was talking about the Mountain. I don't know. I didn't really get that vibe, but I did get the vibe that he was kind of contemplating the futility of life and all these people dying, and what does it actually matter when just somebody else dies and somebody else grabs power and somebody, like, it's just a violent cycle that seems to be repeating itself.
And
I did kind of get that vibe.
And it sounds like he doesn't understand the reasoning for all the violence. And
yeah.
he's the guy who, that's why is he the only, like, older male character in the show that hasn't killed anybody?
No, he's killed people during the battle.
Did he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought he got knocked out.
I'm almost positive. No, remember he smashed the dude's head with the shield.
Did he? Okay.
In the one fight when he was with Catelyn, he was a prisoner, and he saved Catelyn's life. No, he's killed people before too.
All right. That was a good scene.
But he did. But I mean, he did do that in defense of his life. So he's never killed somebody just in cold blood. But yeah, I think he was just kind of maybe contemplating the futility of death and not understanding the motivations behind people doing it.
I always try to do, you're a gamer, you should talk about game theory. I always think a little show theory and why they do certain things throughout the seasons. These are obviously come off the books. So what are they trying to accomplish with all this? That's why, going back to Oberyn, even though most impactful death of the show through 4 seasons for me, thanks. Okay. I kind of saw it coming because they introduced him so late, and he was definitely a plot device for all this happening in King's Landing this season.
We'll go to support.
Why? The question I have, and I'm still trying to figure it out, I don't know what's going to happen here, but they've really put an emphasis on the bond now, the rebonding between Jaime and Tyrion. And I don't think that's empty. I think there's something that comes of it. Although, maybe not. Here's the thing, and just full disclosure here, he's read the books. I have not read the books. However, I was minorly spoiled on a couple of things to end this season. One of them was the Sand Snakes. I won't.
All right. Yeah, don't spoil it for them.
Oh, I won't. I'm not going to. All right. I'm going to say the Sand Snakes. I won't tell you who they are. I know they're going to be awesome, and they'll come in next season. I'm going to love to see them. And then something happens to a certain character that I was spoiled on. So it's kind of weird. Like, sometimes you don't want to be spoiled. I'm actually, with what happened this past week, I was just like, F it. I just want to be spoiled on this one thing. I didn't even care.
No.
Well,
talking about spoilers is so odd because you're having to be so vague while trying to make the point.
Yeah. Right. So that might have been a little non sequitur.
As far as the Tyrion and Jaime relationship goes,
so I think they've done that for a reason.
That's definitely possible. Also, I would say that these are brothers, right? These are brothers. They've always Jaime and Tyrion have always gotten along, and Tyrion's literally on death's doorstep.
Yeah, and I mean, he's
that said, they were kind of focusing on Jaime during a lot of those shots.
That's why,
where Oberyn's winning the fight, and Jaime's looking very excited and happy for him.
This is how I feel. I'm putting my heads in my hand because I can't think about it. You're right. Because that's why, T-Bo, that's why it was so impactful for me. Because remember how I said I was on the edge of my couch?
Yeah.
You could see, is it Ilaria Snow? The paramour.
Oh no, Sand. Ilya Sand.
Sands.
They all have
Ilya Sand was cute on the edge of her seat.
Bastards from the north are snows. Dorne is sands. Some areas have like stones. It's kind of like geographic.
I remember they did it like probably 3 or 4 times where they would go to Ilya, they would go to Jaime, and then Cersei and Tywin to all kind of see their reaction. Cersei was a little indifferent, which was a little interesting to me. It didn't seem like she was too thrilled.
Well, I think she was sweating it.
Yeah.
I think she was sweating it for a while there.
Yeah. And then, but Jaime, you could see, when he thought that the mountain was dead, you could see it smiled. He was on the edge of his seat. I mean, he was thrilled for his brother. Tyrion's expressions were priceless as well, and same with Ilaria's. And then in the beat of a heart and a snap of a finger when he knocked the Viper down.
Before we get into it, let's talk about the fight as a whole.
Oh, awesome fight.
Because awesome fight, man.
And I heard
the music, the build-up. I had goosebumps. I knew what was going to happen, and I was nervous going into it, they like with the viewing stands and it was just so well handled. The fantasy aspects of the show have been out of control good this season.
And you know what I heard is Pedro Pascal, who played Oberyn, he did most of his own scenes. There was a couple, like when he was doing the wire scenes when he was swirling around, that wasn't him. But almost everything else was him.
You know what was cool was just his showmanship. Yeah. Right? How Oberyn, he gets to the and then he's looking to the crowd like, hey, I just thought, I thought how they handled it, man. His moves, how he showed you can defeat a 6'11" giant, what you got to do, how you tire him out. I thought the show, great, just bravo, great fight team.
Best fight so far in the
Oberyn's technique, everything was wonderful. And then how he's, you could feel the anger in him. And then when he's drinking before the fight and everything, he's like, I always drink before a fight. And you could feel the anger in him as he's trying to get the Mountain to admit that he raped and killed his sister and his nieces and nephews. And it really culminates in this awesome leaping strike to the chest, where you get this sense of triumph, and he really emphasized the yell when he does it, and you're like, oh my God, he won. And then he starts saying, he's starting to get Tywin in trouble, which I think is his end game. He wanted the Mountain to admit that Tywin had ordered it.
And there's not just Lannisters there. There's Martells. I think there's still some Tyrell. There's everybody there who's seeing this fight now, and word's gonna spread. The one thing I don't get, and maybe you can't share because it'd be a spoiler, or maybe it happened in the show and I didn't get it. But was the implication was that Tywin was behind this? So I know that was what Oberyn wanted, right? Who ordered it? Who ordered it?
Well, when the Mad King during Robert's revolution or whatever, when it looked like Robert was going to win, Tywin and the Lannisters, even though he's hand of the king, they're the ones who turned on the Targaryens, opened up the gates, kind of killed. They got King's Landing. They'd already overthrown the Targaryens for Robert. So the sacking of King's Landing was on Tywin's command, and that's well known. But
was the rape
and murder a royal family member, stuff like that, I don't think that's been attributed to Tywin's direct command, and I think that's what Oberyn was trying to get the Mountain to expose in front of everybody.
Brutal death. We talked about it at the beginning. Just brutal death. Like I said.
Okay, so leaping chest strike. Let's catch back up. Leaping chest strike. He's taunting him, and you start to get this feeling like it's too much. It's too much. You got to kill this guy. And he's standing by him. He looks at his lover. Next, the Mountain's kind of playing possum a little bit, laying there. Boom! Knocks his leg out. So strong, grabs him by the throat, lifts him up, and even more than what comes next. This is the part that really got to me. It was just kind of crazy. One hand in the throat, the other hand, boom, all of his teeth just go flying, like a whole mouthful of teeth. And then the next shot, you see him laying there, jagged, just broken shards of teeth, gums, blood, and what came next, Seth?
I don't even want to think about it.
It's okay. You got to say it. Tell the camera.
The head explosion.
Tell the camera. You can't just gloss over it like that.
I'm going to gloss over it.
So he knocks out the foot, breaks all of his teeth, gets on top of him, starts gouging his eyes, and literally squeezes his head till it explodes, all while just to salt the wound, add insult to injury, talking about how, yes, I did rape and kill your sister and her kids, but didn't care. If
there's any saving grace, I guess, for Oberyn, that's what he wanted to happen. He wanted to kill the Mountain. The Mountain's severely injured, so I'm assuming.
No, Oberyn didn't want to die.
No, he didn't want to die. Of course he didn't want to die. I'm saying, but the goal out of this was to kill the Mountain and to get him to admit what he did, and he did get those two things most likely. Although maybe the Mountain.
See, I don't know. I don't think he wanted him to admit what he did, but I think if you put it to Oberyn, look. You can either have it where the Mountain dies but doesn't say anything, or you die and he does admit it. I think Oberyn would have definitely been like, I'd rather have the Mountain die and him not admit it.
Yeah.
Like, I think Oberyn still fully wanted to live through this fight. It's not, while he wanted the Mountain to admit it, I don't know if he would have traded his life. If he knew what would have happened, I guess I'm saying, I don't think he would have traded his life for the Mountain's admittance.
The one thing I know is that the Martells are a very powerful family, right? They rule the South, the Southeast. So to think that the Martells are just done in this story, I think is silly. It's going to be, I've never read the books. I keep saying that. I should stop saying that.
Yeah, we should stop saying that.
Yeah, I know. Just next time, just punch me in the face, knock my teeth out when you do that. But their story, I don't think is done by a long shot.
No. Now, he did die legally, though. It wasn't like he was murdered.
No.
So, as far as, I mean, they're going to be, don't get me wrong, they're going to be mad. And who knows how they're going to react, but they can't, it's not like it's a declaration of war.
Oh, yeah,
or
no,
anything.
I concur with that. Last thing here, Tyrion's fate totally up in the air. That's how it ended.
Sucks
The very last scene was Tywin. And for as much as I hate the character of Tywin, the actor does such a good job.
Oh, it's an incredible job.
Amazing, where he stands up very matter-of-factly. The gods have sentenced you to die.
Gods of friggin' Tyrion Lannister, sentenced
to death. That's where it ends. And it's up in the air. And the previews from the next show looks like we might have to wait 2 shows to see what happens to Tyrion.
Woo! Game of Thrones. Every season so far, the 9th episode is the big action episode.
Yes.
It's the over the top craziness.
And we finally saw a preview. If you watch the preview of the Fire in the North, and it looks big.
All right. So the problem that this presents to the Night's Watch is that while they need all those 100 men to man the walls, and the walls their best defense, they're going to be distracted from behind because they've got a group that's almost as big as they are, and maybe even better fighters already beyond the wall. So they are literally, they're going to be facing this giant army and then a small raiding force, but from both sides. They're a little surrounded. This whole episode looks like it's going to be one giant fight scene. Cannot wait.
Yeah, and I don't have any idea. I'm not even going to guess how this is going to end.
Does Jon Snow make it out alive?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
All right.
I think Jon Snow makes it out alive somehow. He's I know they kill off main characters, but there's no story in the North anymore without Jon. So I think they have to keep him, at least for the current time being. Not saying he's going to make it forever, but at least for the time being, I think he makes it out alive. I know that we talked about kind of how you're more sympathetic towards the Boltons and the Lannisters than I am. I think.
Oh no, not the Boltons. Calm down. All I'm saying is that was kind of a sweet scene between the Boltons. I'm not sympathetic to the Boltons.
You're not Team Bolton?
They're evil. They're very evil.
Okay.
Very evil.
I am, I think, way more sympathetic towards the Wildlings than you are. Maybe that's because I haven't read the books.
No,
but I find
no.
their story like. I wouldn't even be
They're
upset.
misplaced people.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be upset if they completely took over the North and Mance Rayder is now the king of the North.
There's a lot of good things about the Wildlings. They don't have rulers by blood. You have to earn your way to, there's different tribes. They don't have, it's like, they're more free than your traditional Westerosian. I don't know if that's how you say it, but.
One question. Where is Ned's brother? They have never confirmed that he is dead. Interesting to me.
He was last seen with the White Walkers. We know the White Walkers have some sort of ability to change people. I don't know. That's a good question. It's a really good question. But no, I feel bad for the Wildlings, right? They got displaced. They got put beyond the wall. Now they live in a harsh environment. All kinds of tribes. They just want to come take their lands back south. That's cool. But
there's bad elements like the cannibals who seem pretty evil and ruthless. But I mean, as a whole, I mean, I think I'd rather have Mance Rayder ruling the North than Ramsay
Bruce
Bolton.
I completely agree with that.
So
but
go Team Wildling.
And that's another shades of gray, man. Right? It all comes back to that. That's how the show is. Shades of gray. You never really know to cheer for. Yes,
make a guess here. I'm gonna make a guess. Total guess here. Probably wrong on this. I feel like
sometimes I got to do stone face because you're pretty good at your guesses, and so I got to do my best.
I'm gonna guess Wildlings take the wall and the Watch. Great battle. I'm sure it's gonna be. Somehow Jon Snow gets recruited into the Wildlings, and he'll be part of Mance Rayder. Maybe he'll be like a lieutenant for Mance Rayder. He'll do something where he kind of switches forces, and I don't know.
I guess we shall find out.
Stone face?
This is my stone face.
I'm trying to figure out how he's going to survive, because I mean, 100,000 against 112. Well, they'll put up a fight because they're bottlenecking people there.
That's absurd. It's literally 1,000 to 1. Yeah. It's literally 1,000 to 1.
It's like worse than the movie 300 when they had like 300, you know?
Is it? Yeah, a million. Well, no, I think
they had 300 guys.
300, yeah. Yeah, no, but okay, this is the best thing the Night's Watch has going for him is that the wall, right? The wall is super tall. You can't really get a whole army.
But it's ice. But the fire play a part?
There's fire. I don't know if you can burn down the wall. The thing about it, it's pretty thick, right? They built into that thing. What you need to watch out for, and they talked to this a couple episodes ago, Jon wanted to freeze the tunnel, the exit to the wall. That's a weak point. With 100 people, how do you defend that tunnel against 100,000 invaders? We shall see.
We shall see. So, yeah, that's my guess. Jon Snow
Next
survives.
You protected him for most of his life. You think you could have saved him?
Wasn't the damn wine taster. Little shit deserved to die, but poison's a woman's weapon. Men kill with steel.
That's your stupid pride talking. It's why you'll never be a great killer. I'd have killed Joffrey with a chicken bone if I had to.
I'd pay good money to see that.
You really think my aunt will pay for me?
Aye, she'll pay.
I've never even met her.
Doesn't matter. You're her blood. Family, honor, all that horse shit. It's all you lords and ladies ever talk about.
I'm not a lady.
Who would pass the bloody gate?
The bloody hound, Sandor Clegane, and his traveling companion, Arya Stark, niece of your Lady Lysa Arryn.
Then I offer my condolences. Lady Arryn died 3 days ago.